did the Springfield Muni Opera grow to be what it is today? Today, the Muni Opera is a prosperous, well-organized operation. It has a steady flow of audience members and a well-maintained building complex. But the organization did not always do so well. When it started in the 1950s, it had many problems and had to shut down. How did the Muni overcome these problems? The Muni started in 1950. Attempts to start such a theater, however, have been going on sporadically in various places since 1938. In 1938, Carl Lundgren organized a musical, Good News, which was sponsored by the Springfield Recreation Commission and performed here at mp4 Ballpark. The audience loved it, and it was hoped that the park board will let a theater be started here at Washington Park. The theater in the park did not materialize, however, and all that went on were one or two plays every once in a while, wherever there was space. People had seen the plays, though, and they continued to encourage the formation of a theater. The city of Springfield gave the 6-year lease to Mr. McWhorter on April 20th, 1950. The site was 55 acres in size and had a natural amphitheater. Seating was made up of 3,000 to 3,500 folding chairs. The land used for parking and the stage area, etc., was cleared by city water, light, and power. A great deal of money and services had to be donated to finance the staging of the first play at the Muni in 1950, as a stage had to be built, an orchestra pit constructed, etc. It was hoped that concrete would be placed in the audience area and 4,000 to 5,000 permanent seats installed. To guarantee payment of all bills, a guarantor system was established. A total of 106 guarantors pledged up to $200 a year to cover any expenses not paid by ticket receipts. The first production. After first-year losses of nearly $6,500, each guarantor was asked to pay $60. According to Florence Berchtold, chairman of the Muni's Board of Trustees. The shows were well. All the shows drew large audiences, and the Muni became so confident that it began paying a business manager, a secretary, a producer-director from New York, and a choreographer support the cost of paying these people. In 1955, the Muni lost over $30,000, and even after every guarantor paid $200, the Muni had unpaid debts. The guarantors resigned and no regular season was planned in 1956. The Muni, in effect, disappeared. In 1957, the Muni did produce one play, It's an Art, and this show prevented the Muni from being permanently shut down due to its debts. In 1958, Milken University conducted a theater and music camp at the theater, but it too lost money. In 1960, the Muni rented out the site to Buckles Theater Company, who performed plays in a tent in the area previously used for parking. On October 29, 1963, a fire burned up much of the theater property, and arson by vandals was suspected. Despite this setback, the Muni decided to reorganize and try again. It elected new board members and officers and decided to produce one play during the summer of 1964, presenting Bye Bye Birdie here in Douglas Park. That play was quite successful, and the Muni began planning its return to the theater on Lake Springfield. Box office, concession stand, and dressing rooms. These accommodations were not perfect. They had to do until the Muni could afford more permanent buildings. One big change in the Muni in the 1960s was that no directors, musical directors, actors, etc. were paid. All were volunteers. No guarantors were recruited. The Muni was determined that ticket revenues and private donations would have to cover the total operating costs of the organization. The Muni was able to do this and even able to save money for improvements at the theater. Permanent seating was installed after a couple of years, as well as a permanent concession stand. Metal garages were built to serve as dressing rooms, and the organization eventually built larger dressing rooms, perhaps in costume storage areas, and larger public restrooms. Attendance has steadily grown since 1965, and many people attending the plays bring lawn chairs or blankets to view the plays from grassy areas in the amphitheater. Now the Muni puts on 4 plays each summer and is well known throughout central Illinois. Since the Muni started anew in 1964, over 1,800 people have appeared in shows, and thousands of others have volunteered their time to help this organization. The individuals who brought the Muni back to life in 1964 have brought enjoyment to all the actors, singers, dancers, backstage workers, and the 516,040 people who have attended the 100 shows thus far presented.